Trishala Pavagada, Director of Engineering, building the core feature flagging platform and integrations at Split. I'm passionate about building teams with diverse backgrounds and experiences and empowering them to make an impact on innovation and productivity. Prior to Split, I held technical leadership and management positions at Cisco and at HP.
And hi, I'm Shannon Cassidy, a Senior Product Manager at Split. I lead initiatives to integrate our product into the SaaS ecosystem with tools like Azure DevOps, Datadog, and ServiceNow. My tech experience began in customer success at a startup, which transitioned into a product role, and I've been working as a product manager ever since at big and small companies. Today, you have joined us for a session on how to automate custom rollouts of functionality from within Azure DevOps. We will take you through a quick introduction of feature flags, give you some ideas on why you should automate your process, how you can automate your process within Azure DevOps using Split, and discuss some nuances of our integration with Azure DevOps that will positively impact your team, specifically as it relates to custom rollouts. Now back to Trish.
Thank you, Shannon. At Split, we're all about feature flags, so it is only natural that we would start this conversation talking about feature flags in DevOps lifecycle. So, what are feature flags? Simply put, feature flags are if-else controls in the code that allow for toggling features at runtime without the need for a deploy. Feature flags could be simple on-off switches or could be fully dynamic configurations that control the behavior of a system without the need for a code change. Let us take a look at how feature flags help streamline the DevOps process. Here we have the typical stages of the DevOps lifecycle. At the dev stage, feature flags enable trunk-based development. With trunk-based development, we can make code changes to a single core branch without the need for long-living feature branches. To make this happen, we need the ability to separate deploy from release, and feature flags enable this. Trunk-based development is critical for continuous integration because continuous integration relies on the fact that we have a single code branch that represents the state of the system at any given point of time. Feature flags provide guardrails in the continuous delivery process. Much of our talk is going to focus on this stage of the DevOps lifecycle. In the post-release stage, feature flags help mitigate risks by enabling progressive rollouts of features and providing kill switches to roll back without the need for code changes or deploys. We can also do experimentation with feature flags, thereby enabling a data-driven approach to releases. As you can see, feature flags are important in order to have a mature DevOps cycle in an organization. As we spoke earlier, we are going to now focus our conversation on the deploy and release stage of the DevOps lifecycle. In a traditional continuous delivery environment, we would typically deploy to a pre-production environment, validate the changes there, and then deploy to production. Validation can be either through automated testing or manual testing. However, there are several challenges associated with this. First of all, there is limited validation. Most pre-production environments are not at the same scale and do not have the same configuration as production environments. So they're not a true reflection of how a feature release would impact the production environment. Also, with an on-off toggle-based release, we typically release to 100% of the users. So a buggy code can actually impact all the users. In complex systems where there are several dependencies, especially in modular architectures, a single service or module having a buggy code can essentially impact several other dependent services. Yes, in either of these cases, you may argue that we can enable techniques such as the canary deployments and release to a subset of users. While this helps, it is still limited because the users are randomized. So, how do we overcome these challenges? The answer again is with feature flags and custom rollouts. With advanced feature flagging capabilities such as that of Split, you not only have the ability to choose what percentage of users that you would like to roll out a feature to, but also choose who exactly those targeted users are. So when you have a new feature, you can start off by rolling this out to the developers who have built this feature. Once the developer validations are complete, then an internal rollout can happen to the users in the organization for further testing, and then to alpha and beta customers. Once the beta testing is complete and the systems are stable, then the feature can be rolled out to all the users. At Split, the engineering team uses progressive delivery, and we have gotten a lot of intangible benefits from this. My team is able to make bold decisions on not only when they want to roll out a feature, but also how they want to roll out the feature and target specific users. They're able to do this mainly because they have the safety net of using our platform in order to make sure that they can control how they roll out the features, and also knowing that they have the capabilities to roll back the features with the click of a button.
So custom rollouts are helpful for development teams, but what does this look like in practice? Now I'll walk you through a demo of the continuous development process within Azure DevOps and highlight the integration that Split has, which enables customized rollouts without ever having to leave your Azure DevOps environment. So, say that I'm working at a gaming company that builds arcade games. My team name is the Arcadians, and we have a problem where a Pac-Man game is too easy. You can see it here with Ghosts on chill mode. I'll show you quickly how I'm going to play. You can see here how it was really easy for me to escape the ghosts. They weren't on radar mode and narrowing in on me. And as a user of this game, I might think it might take me a long time to build up points, and this really isn't exciting if they're not going to keep me on my toes. And so as the product manager for this arcade game, what I want to do is put out a feature that makes it more difficult to play. So now I'm over in my sprint. I'm on a team called the Arcadians, and the product manager, me in this instance, has added several different tasks to make this game harder. First, we're going to add chase logic to the radar mode. We're then going to test the radar mode in production because we don't want to roll out to our customers without making sure that it's working there. And then we want to release to users. And we'll talk about a percentage-based rollout here as well. What I want to do before we start this sprint is go over to my pipeline and make sure that the build is in place. I'm going to show you something that I have built before and where our Split integration can make it easier to go in and target the right users. Here you'll see I have the 3 stages: build, deploy to staging, and test in production. When I'm on my deploy to staging phase, you'll notice that I have turned on the treatment for 100% of my users. If I don't already have this Split targeting definition in here, if I've installed the Split extension, I can find it within this area here, and it will show me, once I allow you to pick my workspace and service connection and environment, I'll then be able to have the default treatment and add it right in. In this case, I've already got it in there for myself. What I also have in here is the targeting for my production environment. This might not be typically what you would do on the first time around, but once you're ready to start rolling this out to 10% of your users, you can go in here and change your targeting definitions. So you'll see, even if I click on the settings, it will open up my selections in here and I can see what I have done. So in here, I have had my segments on for all of the Arcadian developers. Essentially, this is the part where I want to test in production for just my dev team. But I also want to turn on the treatment for my users and start to understand if it's on for 10%, are we positively impacting the KPIs we're looking at as a PM? Possibly adoption, more gameplay, more people getting points. Once I've set up my pipeline, I'll go ahead and keep it. I'm going to go back to my sprint, and this is where the real work begins. So on my sprint, I'm going to say add chase logic to go to radar mode, and I'm going to put radar mode in production. So let's start with this task, and we'll say that we are currently working on it. I see that we wrap this feature in a split called Pac-Man Radar Ghost, which is this feature flag that will enable it to make it more difficult for our customers. When I go over to Split, again, this tab will show up if I have installed the Split extension. I can go in and choose a service connection, and I can choose a split if I have one already. I can also create a split if I don't have a split created. In this instance, I have already created a split. Now, once I'm ready to go commit, I can go into my repo, and I have files that I have created before. So we'll just go and create a quick edit because this is for the demo. Once I go to commit, this is going to be really important, as I'm going to want to attach the work item that I was just working on to get the work item and therefore the feature flag associated with that work item ticked off with the build. And that's when our targeting rules are going to get put in place. So at this point, my work is done, and I'm ready to get this rolled out to 10% of my customers. This will kick off my pipeline build. And we're going to start building. I'm going to come back in just a second once this is done, and we can take a look at what shows up in Split as a result of the actions that we just did. While this is finishing up, I'll look over in Split. Right now, I don't have my targeting rules set up, but as these start to come in, I will see these targeting rules get updated for that split that I had associated the work item with. Now my build is done, and I'll see these updates made in Split. Here you'll see my targeting information for the staging environment, and we'll see in our production environment that we have the default on for just the Arcadian developers, which are my developers testing in production. And I can see that the default rule we have on for 10% of our production customers. So what I'll be able to do as a PM, once I know that this functionality is on, is assess, are these 10% of users having a more positive experience than when they were before? And this type of progressive rollout will prevent me from impacting the other 90% if this is a bad feature. Possibly if the 10% is all looking good, then we'll release to the rest of them. Now, if I'm one of the users that has been exposed to the 10% treatment, I will see this radar mode, and I can start the game again. And you'll see that these ghosts have started chasing me, so it's harder and now more challenging for me to complete this, which in my mind is a good thing because I'm up for this challenge and want to get more points. So this is about it for the demo. What we did was we walked through what it looks like to tie a split to a work item in Azure if you're doing sprint planning and creating those splits or using existing ones. We've shown how we can set the targeting rules in the pipeline and make those targeting rules adjusted so they can target a specific segment or just a percentage of our users. So to recap what we've learned today. Trunk-based development is the foundation for continuous integration, and feature flags provide guardrails for continuous delivery. You can move to a progressive delivery model by using percentage-based rollouts with feature flags. Split's Azure DevOps extension allows developers to set custom targeting rules from the release pipeline, including segmentation and percentage-based rollouts. Lastly, the extension enables teams to associate splits with work items so that engineers can understand which flags are related to which piece of work, and features can be rolled out automatically based on the targeting rules set with the release pipeline. Thank you for viewing our session today. Please visit our virtual booth to see a full demo of our Azure DevOps extension and more Split content.